Hello everybody, Reginald here. I'm very excited to make this video because there's a question everybody is asking. Why is it that all of my games are either Stomp or be Stomped? What exactly is going on? Well, I finished last season in Celestial 3, and I played some games in Celestial, and my last two games I had a stomping win and a total defeat that wasn't even close. And so I went and I looked at that defeat from the perspective of every person on my team to see what they were doing and what kind of mistakes they made. And I can actually tell you that every single person on the team made a set of either minor or significant mistakes all at the same time or close together, and that was exactly how we lost a point fight that we should have otherwise won. I call this particular issue stacking failure. And what that means is two people make mistakes, maybe independent of one another, but that causes other people to be forced into mistakes on the team. And all these things cascade together to cause a bunch of minor issues compound until, boom, your team just gets wiped out without any counterplay. And if this happens enough time in a game, it only has to happen a few times in a game, as it turns out, you can absolutely get stomped because the enemy team starts building ult charge a lot sooner than you do, and it's very hard to reset unless you get a full, focused reset and expend the enemy's resources into your team intentionally. So, we're going to do a little exercise. We're going to go watch back this recording from Season 1.5 and look at all of the mistakes that were made organically. Hopefully this will be very interesting for you because it was for me. Okay, so we're going to bounce our way through this here. Just to start off with, as a point of order, we do actually finish this game as SVP. This is on old Mr. Fantastic before his fantastic new buffs, and the lobby is basically being run by this Iron Fist who's also free buff. So this is kind of one of those difficult ones. This difficult game where it's like, okay, what's going wrong? How do we fix it? We've tried a couple of different comps and things are just not working. And, you know, I offered to swap, you know, whatever. We were offering options. The only reason I didn't end up swapping was because I was leading the pack in everything until basically the very end. So they didn't want me to swap. So let's go look at the actual play. Okay, so here's the situation. We've just lost another point fight, just complete wipe, no hope. The enemy dropped a number of ults. We're going to be going into this next fight with our ults on the table. So we're going to advance. And we're pressuring this Iron Fist. He gets, you know, his work. I'm going to hit this squid. We get a Squirrel Girl ult in the open. I'm going to pop these clones, and we're walking into this point. They've got their ult out. You can see we have the Invisible Woman ult out now. So we're fighting, and I'm going to hit Q. I went big. I hit Q. I hit Q near the end of that ult. All right, I'm trying to jump on the squids because the squids are not dead, and I get blown up ultimately by Luna Snow. Okay. I get no kills with my ult. Squirrel Girl gets no kills with her ult. The enemy team is alive and well, and there have been no, essentially, the entire team wipes on that push, even though we had 2 DPS ults on the field. So what happened? Like, genuinely, how does something like that happen where 2 DPS ults go down and we lose? And what kind of mistakes are happening in the team? So one thing I wanted to do is I wanted to look at the Hawkeye. Okay, so let's look at the Hawkeye. Let's look at every single person's perspective. All right, we're missing shots. That's fine. I'm ulting. Here I am ulting. Notice, did you notice that? Maybe you did not notice that. He did not kill the squids. He could have killed the squids. The squids are what ultimately did most of the damage to me. And as a consequence, I'm dead, and his only 2 picks are at the very end of the fight. The fight is already over. It doesn't matter what he does now. All right, let's look at the Squirrel Girl. Squirrel Girl is getting diffed by a Loki in a 1v1 in a corner somewhere. Okay, so we've got Squirrel Girl soloing on the corner there. All right, let's see what's going on. I want to look at sort of this from a different perspective. Let's try to look at the whole team fight. Maybe we can figure out what's going on here. All right, I probably shouldn't have ulted right next to the tree because I take a bunch of damage. I lose a bunch of shielding there. All right, the squids are not dying. Wait a second. Let's look at that again. What did we notice? All right, we've got Lamp. Okay, so Lamp goes down. Their Iron Fist manages to get ult. And then we get Magneto at full HP, bubbling himself. Let's look at that again. On the bottom left side of the screen, we can see all the events taking place. Let's try to slow this down because there's a lot going on. It's hard to see all the mistakes that everybody's making here. I go in to help Squirrel Girl and to push into the point. Squirrel Girl is in the Invisible Woman ult. She is dropping damage. The Invisible Woman ult goes down. Invisible Woman does her little jump. I am bouncing. I take some damage on the trees. Too much damage. Magneto moves out of the way. We have Iron Fist pushing. Now Magneto is fighting an Iron Fist by himself, but he is in Lamp, so he is safe for the moment. Now we see Iron Fist going after Invisible Woman, who does not have her invisibility. Magneto, nearly full health, bubbles himself instead of bubbling me or Invisible Woman. I die because no one shot the squids. Hanzo is busy not shooting the squids. Invisible Woman dies here. Invisible Woman actually pushes, I just noticed, pushes multiple enemies out of my ult bounces, preventing me from getting potentially a pick there. I actually don't think I get kills because Invisible Woman pushes the enemies out of the way of my own attack. Let's watch this again. Let's see if we can pick out all the mistakes that are happening. There, Loki, on high ground, chasing down our Squirrel Girl. In a second. He's setting up. He's actually setting up. This is a great play by their Loki. Our Loki, low ground, on point, fighting. Squirrel Girl, getting attacked by a Loki, not noticing the Loki for 3 shots, 4 shots. Iron Fist pushing into our Loki on low ground. Hanzo, not getting any kills right now. He's not shooting the squids. He's not killing the Loki. Yep, I miss almost entirely all of the damage on that bounce entirely because, wow, that's really something. I might have gotten a kill there if not for the Invisible Woman pushing that Iron Fist. I might have gotten 2 kills. Kill on a support and we get nothing. So now it's just Hanzo and just Magneto on the point. This is crazy to watch. And they're losing in slow motion here. So I guess all I want to talk about is this. Like, when you are losing a game, this game shows you how you lose games. This final fight is exactly how you lose a game. Every single person on my team, including me, the glorious SVP, made a mistake at some point in this team fight. And they all stacked up together to lose us this game. Right here, I land on them. A lot of people wounded. Half health on the Atom. Half health near, 2/3 of the health bar on the Luna Snow. But Hanzo's looking away. He's not shooting these squids, which are just bursting me down. Look at how much damage I'm taking from these squids. And then everybody gets pushed out of the way of that attack that I almost landed on people. But they all got shoved out of the way. Complete safety. Now I'm going to die to this last squid and to... So this is really just like inattentiveness all around from all of the players. Myself included. I'm trying to reiterate here that I'm not insulting the whole team, right? So like, imagine if our Loki, for example, had played exactly opposite and taken this high ground over here. Think about what would have happened in that case. We lost this game despite having the ult advantage and having a perfectly viable composition where we were technically doing pretty well for some of these games. And we lost because every single person didn't do something they were supposed to do at the right time. Each little decision these players made resulted in us losing a winning fight because we didn't play properly. Those mistakes cost us the entire game, and the enemy team probably just felt like they rolled us. But all it was is that we didn't hit our buttons properly. We didn't aim at the right things, we didn't kill the right things, we didn't worry about the right things, we didn't stand in the right places. And all those little mistakes added up to us losing this fight outright when we should have won. So, as you're looking at your games, and you're getting these horrible losses where you're getting giga rolled, I want you to remember that you are making a mistake. You're probably making a bunch of little mistakes, and those little mistakes are compounding with your teammates' little mistakes, resulting in everybody losing. Now, you can play a game in such a way that you don't make any mistakes, and that will increase the odds of your team not having to make up for your mistakes, and therefore you winning, right? It can be the case that, if 5 players are making catastrophic mistakes regularly, you're going to lose that game, and you'll probably just be the person who's SVP. When you win a game and it's a total roll, it's because your team is not making a lot of mistakes, and the enemy team is making a lot of mistakes. When you lose a game, and it feels like you had the advantage, but you lost it anyway, it's usually because everyone on your team is making mistakes at the same time when they needed to be more attentive to what the problems were, right? And was able to maneuver appropriately to deliver that ult at full value and maximize my kills, right? My ult could have won us the game, but it didn't because I was too wounded and I died to some squids. I could have survived those squids if Hanzo had shot them, or if anybody had shot them. But in this lobby, nobody shot the squids. And maybe if Invisible Woman or Loki had played in a different spot, they would have done better. And if our Squirrel Girl hadn't have gotten tipped in a 1v1 by the enemy Loki, maybe things would have gone better. But you can't solve for every problem. You just have to solve for the ones that you're controlling. So that's my message for today. Try to play more perfect games so that you win more. Look at your own replays to see where you're making mistakes, and I think you will find success. Warm regards.
Reginald.
I would like to take a moment to express my genuine and significant gratitude to Bonehead for becoming my first Oath Taker level member. Your support really does mean a lot to me and has made it so much easier for me to continue to justify the amount of effort I pour into this channel. I'd also like to thank Miles Williams Lewis, Joseph Davison, Shackleford, and McSpan for supporting my channel through my Adept level membership. Your atypical support really means a lot to me, and I appreciate it. I'd also like to extend a thank you to the rest of my members. Support helps the channel a lot. If you would like to become a member of this channel, there is a link in the description below and a join button next to the subscribe button. Thank you all so much for visiting. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.